Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out True Off My Chest. Story 1. I wish my parents thought more about having us. I was browsing another subreddit that made me think of this, but posting about it there was against the rules, so I decided to post about it here. To be blunt, my mother hates that she had children. She doesn't necessarily hate me or any of my siblings, but she gets so tired and worn down by her responsibilities. She divorced my alcoholic, biological dad and remarried to a much more responsible man who actually helps, but it still just drags on her so much. Every day is just an uphill battle of trying to keep the peace because just about anything and everything can and will set her off. She's a walking time bomb, but only became like this after my older brother was born. Everyone can tell that she didn't want to be a parent. Without saying too much, she only got married to get away from her family. I don't even know whose idea it was to have children, because it's clear that neither my mom or bio dad wanted to actually be parents, but I'm getting off track. It's clear my brother and especially me made my parents miserable. My mom was constantly angry and stressed out, and my dad was mostly either at work, drunk or on his computer. It only got worse as I was born, since I was a much needier child who was filled with a whole bunch of anxiety and issued with overeating, among other things. After they divorced, my dad even ended up kicking me out just because of how stressful it was being a parent. He tried to kick my brother out too apparently, but he was older so chose to stay. I know people would celebrate life no matter how it came about, but I really wish they didn't. If they had no children, my mom would be much less stressed and able to pursue her passion for art. My dad wouldn't have drunk as much and may not be dying of liver failure at the age of 52. If they didn't have my older brother, he wouldn't be struggling every day at a gas station trying to take care of my father who doesn't want to be taken care of. If they didn't give birth to me, I wouldn't have so much trauma and never would have had to cut or try to kill myself so many times. And for that I genuinely and lovingly wish they had never become parents. If they didn't have us, everyone would have been so much happier. To anyone reading this who wants to become a parent, go for it. Do it with all your heart and give a child a loving home. But don't be sold on the bullshit lie that simply birthing a child is a magical happy ending. It has and will continue to ruin people, just like it ruined all of us. I get so angry when people just mindlessly push others to have children, because I am willing to bet that is exactly what drove my parents to unlovingly give birth to us. They didn't have us because they wanted us, they had us either because they had to or it was just the thing to do, but I think I'm getting off topic again. I just wish we all could have been happier. I will continue to try to do the best I can for my older brother, my baby siblings and myself since we're here, but if I had to power over it, none of us would be here in the first place. Story 2. Festival My GF and a broken ankle. Hey Reddit! Am I being an idiot? My girlfriend of just under a year has invited me to a festival due to her friend not being able to attend. Unfortunately I've broken my ankle, but she really wanted me to go with her, so I did. We brought a tent between us and a load of festival gear before I knew I broke my ankle. We have a fairly healthy relationship and I love her loads. A few days before the festival I expressed my concerns about my ankle and being on crutches. I don't want to hold her back but didn't want to just sit on the side and not participate. However, she told me don't worry and that she wouldn't leave me and wanted me to be there. We arrived to the festival and I set up camp with her friends and I carry equipment but struggle with the crutches, but all goes well. We go to the main event tent and she walks off and dances with her friends, which is no big deal, but an hour passes and I'm just left at the side feeling like an idiot for coming. The tent is empty, just her and two others. I walk off and watch some chill out band and get a text saying where I've gone. I think she's done some kind of pills and not told me, so I'm sitting in the tent with my leg raised and not sure if I'm overreacting or not. Any advice is appreciated, just need to know if I'm in the wrong or not and what to do next. I feel stupid for coming. Thanks. Story 3. I want to take my life. This isn't the first time I've felt this way and it won't be the last. But it doesn't make having these thoughts any easier, despite knowing that maybe tomorrow I'll feel different. Maybe tomorrow I'll feel hopeful and want to keep trying. Except the truth is it all feels so meaningless. I'm the oldest of 6 kids, in my 30s, and I'm borrowing money from my younger siblings because the job I have now costs more than I make thanks to the college loans. On top of that, my bank is always negative, and no matter how many part-time jobs I apply for, or freelance work I attempt to do, nothing pans out. It feels like I'm cursed. Like I take 6 steps forward and 20 back. And yet I keep trying. I keep trying to get my books published. I keep trying to look for love. I keep trying to work on myself and see how much life still has to offer. But it all feels so futile. And I'm tired. Story 4. I'm going to cut my parents off. Long story short, ever since I was 10 years old, 20 now, there has been some history of cheating. Whether that be physically cheating on my dad's part or emotional cheating on my mom's. Growing up, my mom has always told my siblings and I about the nitty-gritty of their relationship. My dad has walked out on my siblings and I 4 different times during childhood. It seems like every 6 months there is some issue and they fight and he leaves. It gets ugly, my mom cries and it's just a never-ending cycle. They had a mutual friend, which was the guy my mom emotionally cheated with. He's been there for me more than my mom and dad combined. He doesn't have kids, so him and I developed a father-daughter bond. My mom still talks to him and my dad still cheats on her. I have a better parent-child relationship with friend. The bottom line is, I'm fucking over it. I'm 20, don't have the finances to leave at the moment. However, my goal is to move out by next April-May. I can confidently say that I don't want a relationship with my parents anymore, or at minimum limit my interactions with them. For those of you that cut off or limited contact, is there a way to do it peacefully? Story 5. Just off my chest. Since I've been born, I feel like I have never had a day of peace. The began with my parents' aggression, towards each other and towards me. Richard Kadri said once that when you're born in a burning house, you think the whole world is on fire. But now, as I've grown older, I realize that I myself set all the houses I built on fire. The days always started with the uneasiness of though on which version of my mom and dad I would get. It was always a surprise, usually not a good one. I understand there was nothing I could do for myself back then, I was a kid, but how could I have failed myself, just as my parents did, by repeating all the madness in the areas I could actually choose? I look at old pictures of me, and I grieve, how could someone be mean to her? A second passes, I look around the house I built and realize I've brought to myself all that madness all over again. Maybe that's the only way a house could feel like a home to me, I don't know. But now, as an adult, when I cry to myself, crawled into a corner, asking to God, why me? Saying I just wanted a when you're born in a burning house, you think the whole world is on fire. Day of peace, I just wanted to be loved, I just wanted to be at least liked, at least seen. Oh God, I just wanted to feel tenderness, forgiveness, 2 of the things I drenched people with my whole life. I no longer get to say how could they do this to me, since the truth is how could I have done all of this to myself. I had the chance to run, but I ran right into the same door I came from. How could I have done all of this to that little girl, that never hurt a fly? They said that sometimes the oppressed become the oppressor, but I never did, at least not to others. I'm still that kind, gentle girl, with less patience maybe, but I still couldn't hurt a fly if I wanted to. I feel maybe I could never run from my parents' habits, at least the habits of hurting myself. Maybe I never really stood a chance to run. Maybe I never stood a chance at all. Story 6. My girlfriend's mom whacked me with her boobs. So I was over at my girlfriend's house and her mom was there too. My girlfriend was cooking dinner, but in the of it she got a private phone call, so she went outside into her car to make that phone call. One thing you have to know about me, I'm 6'3" and her mom is only 4'11". When I was washing my hands in the kitchen to get ready, I felt a presence behind me but didn't look. When I turned around, her mom stacked 2 chairs on top of each other and stood on them. She ripped her shirt and her bra and hit me in the face with her boobs. I fell backwards, hitting my head on the counter and fell on the floor. She jumped off the 2 chairs and landed on my head with her boobs. She was repeatedly hitting me on the head with her boobs. In the kitchen she knocked over the food my girlfriend was cooking and knives and canned vegetables crashed to the floor. I made a run for it downstairs. Even downstairs things got knocked over. When my girlfriend's phone call was over she came in the house and said, "Why is there this mess?" She came downstairs and saw what's happening and she said, "What's going on?" Story 7. I miss gambling. I used to be addicted to a table game called Baccarat. I first played in August of 2022. I called it quits July of this year. It's cliché to say I wish I never started or I wish I was never introduced, but my God, does that really apply to me? My life has never been the same since. Never. Never. Nothing gives me motivation. Nothing brings me joy. Nothing feels worthy. Money is all I stress out about. I feel depressed all of the time when, quite frankly, I should be thanking my lucky stars gambling made me lose my previous job and apartment in 2022. I had to start all over. Fortunately I applied myself. I moved in with my parents, found a better, higher paying job, and leased a great apartment. Everything is arguably better on paper. I'm so damn depressed it makes no sense. I'm actually shaking my head as I am typing this out. Oh, and it gets better. I am a therapist. It is very fulfilling, but it used to be extremely rewarding. I miss how much I used to love it. I miss how little money mattered to me. I miss never knowing what the high felt like, that adrenaline from winning. Time will resolve this, I just thought it would feel good to get this off of my chest. Story 8. Finally admitted to being sexually assaulted and I'm in despair. 39M. I'm a 39-year-old male and finally coming to terms with being raped by another man when I was 23. I tried to mask it and drown it in alcohol for years. Sort of ironic that I was drunk when it happened. I never saw my attacker's face and was so drunk that the moments before were pretty blurry. I never told a single person for 16 years and it gave me living nightmares of shame and guilt that only got worse with time. It made me question my sexuality, gave me intimacy problems and I stayed away from getting doctor checkups. Many times I considered and was very close to suicide. Last week it built up to a complete nervous breakdown, been crying uncontrollably for days. When the breakdown started to happen, I finally told my wife of 12 years what had happened to me by writing it down and letting her read it. I stayed in the other room while she read it and I was terrified what her reaction would be. Her reaction was the best I could hope for. She's been extremely loving and understanding, even though I just feel weak and a burden. I love her somehow even more now that she still accepts me after knowing this. I'm still crying heavily every day and today was especially hard for me. I'm seeking professional therapy soon and I hope it works. It feels like my life is falling apart, even though it happened 16 years ago. Since I told her, it just feels like the pain is fresh again. Edit update, wow. The outpouring of advice and support has blown me away. Been crying just going through these. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.